Oh my God.
It's like air in your mouth. Hi Sugar Geek, I'm Christophe Rull and I'm back here in Sugar Geek Show for a whole brand new season full of pastries. So today we are making a beautiful chocolate soufflé.
Light, fluffy, airy, terrifying.
My soufflé are not terrifying.
It's terrifying to me.
Soufflé can be sometimes intimidating. However, after following this tutorial, I think anybody at home will be able to reduplicate the soufflé. The first things we're going to do is the vanilla sauce. While the soufflé is raising, we have time to cool down the vanilla sauce. So let's get started. We have our milk over here inside the pot. This is whole milk. Then we're going to add our vanilla bean. Cut the vanilla bean in half, remove the seed. If you don't have vanilla bean at home, you could definitely use vanilla extract.
This just makes a much better flavor.
So you put the whole bean inside as well as the vanilla seeds. Medium heat, sugar, boom, 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 bada boom. So we're going to mix the egg yolk.
We're just waiting for this to heat up. And then, are we going to temper the egg yolks?
Yes, we're going to temper the egg yolk. We have our milk that is boiling.
Okay. Move from the heat. And we're going to...
Then we're going to temper. So this is to avoid to make an omelette or scrambled egg.
That's not the recipe we're going for.
No. Now that the egg yolk at the same temperature as the milk, we want to put it back into the pot. And then you mix everything together. And then you go back into the stove.
Over medium?
Medium heat.
Okay.
And then we're going to cook the crème anglaise. We call it à la nappe.
Okay.
So that means that once your crème anglaise will be cooked, it will be thick enough to stay into your spatula.
Right.
Pretty much the right temperature will be 83 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
Is the temperature of pasteurization of the egg yolk.
So it's also safe to eat.
Yes.
I see it's getting thicker.
So yes, exactly. You have the vanilla sauce is getting thicker.
À la nappe.
À la nappe.
À la nappe.
Do not boil your vanilla sauce.
Okay, that will be à la bad.
À la bad. Yeah. À la burn.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you're increasing, decreasing the temperature depending on what the sauce is doing to keep it thickening but not boiling.
Correct. You want to make sure to not overcook your vanilla sauce. Huh? Can you see?
I see.
The vanilla sauce is not dripping.
Yep.
All right, and now we strain our vanilla sauce.
Nice.
Voila.
Beautiful. And crème anglaise is a basic sauce that you use in a lot of desserts, right?
Correct, and even on mousses.
All right, we'll let that cool down and make our soufflé.
Put it in a cooler and let's move on to the soufflé. In order to avoid your vanilla sauce to have a little skin over the top, I will recommend to cool it down with a plastic wrap over the top of the vanilla sauce. That will avoid the skin creation.
So let's go ahead and prepare our ramekins for the soufflé.
First things is you want to have soft butter, really soft butter. Brush and then our little ramekin. And then we butter it all the way around and on the side. A step important that I found out after making so many soufflés is when I brush the butter into my ramekin is I go from up and down. Up and down. Why? Since you brush it up and down, your butter is going to melt and it's going to slide straight. So if your butter is melting and slides straight, your soufflé is going to go up straight as well.
So these are pretty big ramekins, yeah?
Yes.
Does it make a difference what the size is? Can you do smaller?
Well, you could make a little bit smaller. I will not recommend to go bigger because the bigger your soufflé, the more weight it's going to have to hold and the more chance of collapsing is going to be. All right, so now we have a little bit of sugar.
Oh, okay.
Granulated sugar. So we put a couple a spoon in it. And then you want to roll your soufflé. It will create a little crust on the outside of the soufflé, giving you a little crunchy part of it. That is really interesting. And you want to remove the excess of sugar.
Yeah.
All right, so let's put this on the side. And now we're going to move on into the real deal.
All right.
Making the chocolate soufflé.
Okay.
First step, turn on your oven, 360 Fahrenheit. The soufflé will be composed in two parts. We're going to have our pastry cream, and we're going to have our French meringue. Both of ingredients will be combined together, and that's going to create the base for the soufflé. So we're putting the milk in a pot. We are heating the milk in medium heat, and then we are mixing the egg yolk with the cornstarch.
Mmm, yummy, cornstarch eggs.
Sometimes you could have lumps inside the pastry cream when you bake it. That's why it's really important to constantly mix it really energetically in order to avoid having any lumps at the end of the cooking process. So mix really well your egg yolk with the cornstarch until your cornstarch is completely dissolved into the egg yolk. All right, so our milk is boiling. We add a little bit of milk inside your mixture egg yolk and cornstarch. We want to bring the egg yolk to the same temperature as the milk before mixing everything together. We pour back the mixture inside the rest of the milk and we start the cooking process.
This is very similar to making the crème anglaise.
It is. So you see how the thing is getting thick?
Yes,
really
already.
quickly?
It's already getting
So
thick.
you see I'm out of stove right now because I feel that it can overcook the eggs and become an omelette.
Yep.
And because there is no sugar inside this pastry cream, it's really easy to bring this into scrambled eggs. So that's why I'm not into the stove right now, but because it's hot, I just want to make sure to mix everything together until it's smooth and nice, and then I can go back to the stove and continue to cook it.
How do we know how thick it should be?
It should bring it to a boil.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm boiling right now. I'm going to mix just for like 30 seconds because it's such a small quantity.
It's done. Look at that.
And it's done. And right away, we add the chocolate. No heat.
Now we have chocolate pastry cream. That looks delicious.
So we're gonna leave this on the side and start our French meringue.
Can you hand me that spatula?
I saw you.
What?
So now the recipe is not gonna be as accurate. So if the chocolate soufflé doesn't raise.
I've ruined everything. It was worth it. That was delicious.
Okay, so now you want to, once the pastry cream is cooked and chocolatey.
Do we have to put plastic wrap on top?
No, because it's going to be fairly quick.
Okay.
All right, so now we are moving on into the French meringue. French meringue, it's egg white, a little bit of cream of tartar. The cream of tartar will help the egg white to stay stable. And then we are going to whip our egg white. Let's put it in a medium speed. You want to get your egg white all the way to medium peak.
Oh.
Before you add your sugar.
All right.
Sometimes you have difficulty at home to have your egg white. It's probably because you add the sugar at the beginning. And your meringue is not going to whip as well as if you're doing this technique for a French meringue. The way we are whipping the egg white is really critical in the realization of the soufflé, and it's probably one of the most important parts.
What speed are you whipping on?
I am in about a little bit above medium speed. So there is a different error when you whip your egg white. The first one will be to have the egg white too soft. If it's too soft, your soufflé is not going to rise as well. And if it's over whipped, it might create some lumps inside your final texture, and that also will play on the fact that your soufflé is not going to rise as well. So right now we are into soft peak. So once you reach to that consistency, you want to slowly add the sugar. Voila. And then you let it whip to a medium peak. The fact to whip it into a medium speed will incorporate small bubble inside your egg white, and that will create a long period of time of stability. It's the same as a bubble bath. But if you look at it at home, the big bubbles in the bath will collapse faster than the small bubbles. It's exactly the same thing with the soufflé. It's science.
Science! We put the geek in Sugar Geek.
All right, so we are almost ready to go over here. Okay, this is good. This is medium peak. So right now I want to make sure that the whole entire meringue is the same consistency. Then I'm going to take 1/3 of that meringue and I'm going to mix with the pastry cream really well.
It's great watching you actually mix this because I feel like I would have been a lot more nervous with the mixing in the first part.
And that's kind of a common mistake when people do the chocolate soufflé. All right, so once the pastry cream is well incorporated with the first part of the egg white, I will pour the whole mix with the rest of the egg white. So now we want to be delicately,
okay,
like so really, really delicately,
okay,
to try to keep the volume of the egg white as maximum as we can. But everything needs to be homogenized.
Yeah. Gentle, gentle. It has lost a lot of volume, but it is surprisingly fluffy still.
And now we want to pour over the piping bag or chocolate soufflé mix.
And do you have to make all of the soufflé at once?
You can mold it right away, but you don't have to bake them right away.
Okay.
You can keep them in the refrigerator for a few hours.
Oh, all right.
I will not leave it more than 4 hours in the refrigerator. The faster you can bake your soufflé after making it, the better is because the egg white are at the full expansion.
Okay.
The more you're gonna leave the egg white or your soufflé mix inside the cooler, the more your egg white has the potential to collapse. And then you're going to fill this all the way to the top. Okay.
I noticed you're putting the tip of the bag all the way into the batter. You're not like...
Yes, in the center.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that there is no air in between all the batter. And now we want to flat the soufflé. You want to flat it to be level. Otherwise it's not gonna raise evenly. And then we want to create a little space in between the chocolate, create a little border.
And that will help it rise more?
Correct.
Ah, genius! The thing with soufflé is you want it to rise as flat and straight as possible. So all of these things that you're doing with the butter and leveling the top and then making the border, that's gonna make it as level as possible.
All right, so we're going to put it in the oven at 360 for about 15 minutes.
That makes me nervous.
All right, Liz, we have our beautiful soufflé over here.
How do you know that it's done?
So right now we put it about 15 minutes and you can see that when you touch it, it has some sort of resistance. I will not just press it down really well, but you can see that there is some resistance on the side also. And when you jiggle it, it's not jiggle in the center, right? Kind of like it holds all together.
Yes. So kind of similar to testing cheesecake or creme brulee, not solid, but not liquid.
Correct. And also you want to have your chocolate soufflé that's raised.
Yes.
That nice, and you see it's nice and level and really beautiful, no crack at all.
Wow, you're so humble.
So we can say that we kind of did a good job today. So now that our soufflé are baked, we will sprinkle powdered sugar over the top before pouring our vanilla sauce.
Oh my goodness, that looks so amazing. Fluffy. Okay, let's dig in. Oh wow. Oh my God.
It's like air in your mouth.
It's like just bubbles and ice cream and a little bit of crispiness from the outside edge. That's a pretty good soufflé. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ding the little bell so you know the next time that Christophe comes out with a new video. I'm Liz, this is Christophe, and we will see you all in the next video. Bye!
Bye, Sugar Geek.